So what if I told you that a 7,000-year-old clay figure and a $17 billion global industry are connected? The answer is one of the most fundamental parts of the human experience. Today, we're diving into the surprising history and the absolutely explosive future of sexuality as a market force. Let's just start with a number that's kind of hard to ignore. $17.11 billion. That's the estimated value of the global sex toy market right now, in 2024. It's a massive economic force for sure, but its roots, well, they go deeper than you could possibly imagine. But to really get where this modern market came from, we need to go back, like way back. Archaeologists in Germany recently found a 7,200-year-old clay fragment, and it's the oldest known depiction of a person in a sexual act. So you've got this multi-billion-dollar industry on one hand, and then this ancient, mysterious artifact on the other. From a simple clay figure to a device you can control with an app on your phone, I mean, that is a huge leap, right? So the big question is, how on earth did we get here? Let's unpack that journey. Okay, so let's start with where things are right now. The modern industry, it's really a story of just explosive growth. And honestly, the numbers are staggering. So the market isn't just big, it's accelerating fast. It's projected to nearly double in less than a decade, jumping from over $17 billion today to more than $31 billion by 2032. Think about that. That's a growth rate of almost 8% every single year. And who's driving all this growth? Well, what's really interesting here is that while women currently make up the biggest slice of the pie, it's actually the male demographic that's the fastest growing sector. And that really says something about changing attitudes around pleasure and wellness for everyone. This slide perfectly captures the push and pull of this whole industry. On one side, you have this huge cultural shift towards wellness and stress reduction, and that is pulling the market right into the mainstream. But on the other side, you've still got these older social stigmas and some very real health concerns holding it back. And there are a few key trends just pouring fuel on this fire. E-commerce gives people privacy in a huge selection. Then you have the rise of smart toys that are integrating with our digital lives. At the same time, the market is just exploding in places like China and Brazil. And we're even seeing these wild mainstream partnerships, like the tech company Lilo working with a fashion giant like Diesel. It's all pushing this industry out of the shadows. All right, let's zoom out and look at the global picture. Right now, North America is the dominant player, holding over a third of the market thanks to changing attitudes and a love for high-tech products. But the real story to watch? That's the Asia-Pacific region. It's the fastest growing market on the entire planet, period. So, that's the modern market. Billions of dollars, high-tech gadgets. But how did it all begin? To really get the present, we have to go way back. Back to a time when our relationship with sexuality was literally a matter of life and death. This timeline shows just a radical shift in how we thought about sex. For early nomadic humans, around 40,000 years ago, sex had to be controlled. Too many children could literally threaten the whole group's survival. But then, things started to change. After the agricultural revolution about 12,000 years ago made larger populations possible, we see these Venus figurines pop up, celebrating fertility. And then finally, we get that incredible 7,200-year-old artifact, a clear expression of a sexual act. You see the shift? Sex went from being a threat to a celebration. So the key takeaway here, the really crucial point, is that our very first moral codes were designed to manage sex. Systems like totemism weren't about some abstract idea of right and wrong. No, they were super practical rules about who could be with whom, all to make sure the tribe survived. Basically, controlling sexuality was the price of social stability. Okay, now let's fast forward like thousands of years. The underlying human desires, they haven't really changed. But the technology, whoa, has that changed. And what's fascinating is that just as sexuality was central to early human society, it was also this surprising pioneer right at the dawn of the digital age. The year is 1982. The home computer is still this wild new thing, and a Japanese company called Koei releases one of the world's first commercial erotic video games, or ROG. It was called Nightlife. And this is just a perfect example of sexuality pushing the boundaries of technology. It wasn't just some silly game, it was marketed as a tool for couples. I mean, think about it. In 1982, this piece of software included a menstrual cycle tracker and a whole index of sexual positions. It was part utility, part game, and just a fascinating little artifact from the very beginning of the PC era. So, from ancient rules about survival to a 1980s computer game, the technology and the context, they're always changing, right? But one thing stays constant. We are always negotiating our relationship with sexuality. And that conversation is happening right now all over the world.
And that conversation is absolutely happening everywhere. This question, are sex toys permissible or forbidden, is the actual headline of an article on the media platform Receive 22. It's a perfect example of how all around the world, people are actively debating and redefining the moral, the cultural, and even the religious significance of these objects.
So, when you step back and look at the whole journey, what we've seen is this remarkable transformation. We went from fertility symbols that were literally tied to the survival of the tribe to a global, tech-driven wellness industry that's focused on the pleasure of the individual. I mean, that is an incredible shift in human history. And all of this leaves us with one final question. As our technology and our societies continue to evolve faster than ever before, what's the next chapter in this ancient human story?